So, very quickly, let me walk you through three applications. Three very critical applications that are critical to the success of Project Eagle. And if you have been following us, you know what Project Eagle is. What exactly is Project Eagle again? Project Eagle is the solution to rigging elections in Nigeria. With Project Eagle, election rigging by whoever will become a thing of the past, because the 7 action steps of Project Eagle make rigging impossible, no matter who you are. From Tinubu to Atiku, whoever, from APC to PDP. With this Project Eagle, rigging becomes a thing of the past. Now, 3 critical applications that are critical to the success of Project Eagle are Law Patrol, WelFUND, and Vote Vision. I'll take them again. Law Patrol, WelFUND, and Vote Vision. Let's start with Vote Vision. Vote Vision is a real-time election results transmission, collation, and display application that will render the results of any elections in Nigeria from the polling unit. Now, Vote Vision is in the 2nd or 3rd action step, which is real-time election results monitoring. The 3rd action steps. And remember, we said that Vote Vision actually consists of 2 components, the technology and the people. The technology is this web application, which is Vote Vision. The people is a network of volunteers that we call the polling unit marshal. And we have 600,000 of them and still counting. So if you want to be a volunteer, you want to contribute to make sure that the elections in Nigeria are rigging proof in a way and manner that you do not put your life or business at risk, this solution is for you. So check the link, join us to become a volunteer polling unit marshal. Volunteer polling unit marshal. That's for the people. Every polling unit will have a polling unit marshal. In fact, we have 3 polling unit marshals per polling unit. 1 primary, 1 secondary, and 1 tertiary. And the beautiful thing is that none of these polling unit marshal will know who the other polling unit marshals are. That way, we are able to have at least 1 polling unit marshal checking on the activities and possibly the excesses of other polling unit marshal. Now, these polling unit marshal are the ones that will enter the results into this application. So before we go into the walkthrough of this application, I just needed to clarify that the people will need polling unit volunteers. And the door is still open for you if you're interested. Then, let's do the walkthrough. Once you log on to the application, this can be a mobile app that will be available on the Android Play Store or what do you call it now? Android Play Store, and what's this other one called now? The thing just ran out of my head now. Apple App Store, all right? So you have the Apple Store and Android Store. So this will also be a web or a mobile application, but it's also available as an application on your desktop. So whether you are using a desktop, whether you are using a mobile app, you have access to this application. Once you log in, you'll be greeted with this. If you have not registered before, click on register, you enter your details, and you are good to go. You'll be able to log in. But I have logged in before, in fact, as admin, and so I am going to use my details to just say sign in, and there we have it. This is the Vote Vision dashboard. You can see to your left here that you have the dashboard where you can see at a glance the different levels at which election results can be monitored. from polling units to ward to local government to state. And then, of course, you have the national results being displayed right here, where you have things like the registered voters, the accredited voters, the voter turnout in percentage, right? The total vote cast, valid votes, rejected votes, and all that. Then you have a brief preview of the different parties and who is leading nationally. Down here, you have discrepancies. This is where such anomalies like overvoting, over accreditation, and all of that will be stored. Then you have the map of Nigeria here. Remember, the application is still under development. All this will be perfected later. There will be a map of Nigeria here that will be displaying the different items, the different states, and then different local government and ward. You can drill down in the app. So that's it with the dashboard, the main dashboard. Then the beautiful thing about this election guard or vote vision, whichever you choose to call it, is that we have a result entry part of it. In the result entry part of it, you can see that we have the polling unit result form where you select your state, select your local government, select your ward, select your polling unit, and then from there you enter your registered voters. In the final application, the number of registered voters per polling unit will be hard-coded into the application, so you won't need to add it. But in case it is not, you can ask, because these are informations that the electoral officer, the INEC election officer, will provide. Total registered voters, let's say, is 3,000 for that polling unit, and we now have total accredited voters, 3,500. You already see it's telling you that voter turnout is 116%, so you know something is wrong. Now, total valid votes, this will be populated once we enter the votes for the party. Then total rejected vote, let's say 300 votes in that polling unit were rejected. So you see it's there. Then in the total valid votes, what you see is, let's say party APC has 500 votes, and then party LP has 1,500 votes, and then party PDP has 600 votes. Then party, which other party again? Let's call it, well, very soon we hope that our Abundance Party will be lifted here. But let's just pull a party, we just call it Youth Party, and put another 1,000 votes. So already you see that these votes are already getting more than the total valid votes become 3,600, which is a total, the addition of all the votes that each of the political parties got. Rejected vote is 300, accredited vote is 3,500. So you see already, if accredited vote is 3,500 and you are having total party votes to be 3,600, is already capturing that error. Meanwhile, total registered voters for that polling unit is 3,000. How come you have more people accredited, more voters accredited than the numbers that are accredited, that are registered for that polling unit? So already that is also captured. Now, if you come down here, you'll see validation issues detected. You have illegal voting. Accredited voters, 3,500, cannot exceed registered voters, 300. So it will notify you of that error immediately. So you see it. And then overvoting, total votes cast, 3,900. That's this one here. Yeah. Total valid votes for political parties and total rejected votes. Now, that's 3,000. It cannot exceed accredited voters. These are where you have issues when you are doing election results collation, particularly from the ward. Now, once you have this, you click on submit result. It will submit, but it will tell you accredited voters exceed this, so you have illegal voting and what, all of that. All of that discrepancies will now come and be fed here in this place as soon as the administrator approves that. But in the final app, the process is going to be automatic, and then you see all of the discrepancies to tell you illegal voting detected. There are polling units where accredited voters exceed registered voters. Then it tells you overvoting detected. There are polling units where total vote cast exceed accredited voters. So in real time, we'll be able to capture and know exactly what is happening from polling units. Then the beautiful thing is, after the results have been entered, you can now go to the ward to select a particular state, select a particular local government, and then select a particular ward, and then you see exactly what is going on in that ward. You can decide to, if you are the ward collation agent, polling unit marshal, the ward collation polling unit marshal, you come here, you will see the result distribution for your ward. Immediately the results are entered from the polling unit. So you are ready at the ward collation center for collation to take place. And if anything is different from what you have here, you call the attention of the INEC collation officer to it immediately. And if anything happens, you escalate. And these things will be happening in real time, because all of these results will be available nationally. The same thing with the local government. You select your state, you select your ward, and then select your state, select your ward, and that's it. The same thing for state. You select your state, it will give you all of the information that you need. And then you have registered voters, you have to tell discrepancies. With this alone, you will see that it will be difficult and impossible for them to actually rig the 2027 elections. The rigging majorly starts at the collation center. If you see how INEC has metamorphosed into a rigging machine, particularly from the Edo election to the Ondo election, Ekiti election, the Kogi election, all of those elections, you'll see that INEC has metamorphosed. The rigging now takes place majorly at the collation center, particularly starting from the ward collation center. But with this kind of application, election guard or vote vision, whichever you choose to call it, remember there are two different names for the same app, it becomes impossible for anybody to rig the results at that point, because mind you, these results are being transmitted live. Some people are concerned that, oh, you are not allowed to announce winner for any election in Nigeria, that it is only INEC that can announce winner. They are very, very correct. It is only INEC that is empowered by law to announce winner. And so it is an electoral offense for you to announce winner if you are not INEC. But you see, what people fail to understand, many Nigerians, in fact, shockingly, many well-read Nigerians, some of them even lawyers, what they do not know is that it is not illegal for a political party, for a civil society organization, for even a citizen, if they have the resources, to get their agents into the different polling units, right? 189,000 of them, and then get their agent to feed them results and use this application to transmit it, to collate it, and to distribute, to display it. It is not illegal at all. Not according to the 2022 Electoral Act, not according to the INEC guideline, not according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So this is perfectly legal. I'll say it again. This is perfectly legal. Perfectly legal. We will capture their excesses. Now, this, like I said, plays into the third action step, which is real-time election gathering. The fourth one, we'll take a deep dive into that, because that application, we are still developing it and we're having some issues. The fourth level is actually evidence gathering. So all of that will play and be connected, because the same polling unit marshal that will enter the results here, some of them will be used to put cam guards, the miniature small Wi-Fi cameras at the polling units in very discrete locations and positions that riggers of elections will never know. Even if they come with scanners and come with everything, they will never know, because the placement will be very discreet. The beautiful thing about this is that once the election closes, whether it's by 4 p.m., by 7 p.m., by 8 p.m., by 11 p.m., as long as the votes have been counted at the polling unit, then game over. It is impossible for anybody to rig. Now, while the elections are going on, what election riggers also do is try to scare people away from voting particular in areas where they feel that their candidates do not have strength. And so they send thugs, they send armed thugs, as a matter of fact, to such locations. And then those armed thugs, they go to such locations, such polling units, they shoot in the air, people run away, INEC officials run away, and then they snatch ballot boxes and run away with it. Mind you, they do this ballot box snatching in less than 10%, of all the polling units in Nigeria. All the electoral violence that you see happens in less than 10% of all the polling units in Nigeria. So if we have 118,000 polling units, 10% of it is 189,000 polling units. 10% of 189,000 polling units is what? That's 18,900 polling units. So election violence will take place in less than 18,900 polling units. The reason is this: if it exceeds that, then it becomes substantial non-compliance, which means that INEC has to cancel the results and do a rerun election. Even riggers of elections do not want that. So they tactically send their thugs to picketed polling units, not even up to the 18,000 that we're talking about. But let's assume, for the sake of analysis, I'm preparing to counter rigging, that they do 10%, 18,900 polling units. So the polling unit agents in that place, together with the polling unit marshals, have a lookout system such that when some people are voting, some people are strategically positioned in different locations around the polling unit, so that they'll be serving as lookout. They'll be serving as advanced team, watching out for thugs coming into that polling unit, so that the thugs do not catch voters or election officials off guard or unawares. These are some of the things that we have put into this application, such that the 2027 election will be very, very difficult to rig. Now, once all these are going, don't forget that election guard is also taking place. These are solutions that will take care of election day rigging attempts. But for us in Refresh Nigeria, for us that are supporters of Project Eagle, we understand one thing: the main weapons of rigging, they happen before election day. They happen before election day. If you have followed us for some time now, you will know that we mentioned the biggest secret weapon of election riggers. In fact, there's a particular video we did and we said Tinubu's biggest secret weapon for rigging 2027 election. Biggest weapon. And what is that? It is voter apathy. You see, there are 94 million voters registered in Nigeria. Out of these 94 million voters, not 94, 98 actually, 94 million have collected their polling and their PVC, right? Only 4 million have not collected. Now, out of this 94 million, how many people come out to vote? Maybe 25 million, less than 30 million. So you have about 60 million Nigerians that never come out to come and vote. That is voter apathy. Now, imagine that these 60 million Nigerians come out to come and vote. How easy will it be for the riggers to buy the votes of these 60 million Nigerians? How easy will it be for the thugs to face these 60 million Nigerians? Cast your mind back to what happened in Lagos. The voters or the electorates in Lagos were successfully able to repel the excesses of thugs in Lagos because they came out in their numbers. Even at that, they were not completely and totally strategic, but they had tremendous success. Now imagine what will happen when they come out in 2027 and they are properly prepared with election guard, with vote vision, with the election monitoring system. It's going to be game over for election riggers in Nigeria. Now let's quickly move on to the second part, where I talked about the fact that the biggest weapon is voter apathy. Why are voters not interested in coming out during elections? Two major reasons. In fact, three. Weaponization of poverty, which WelFUND will take care of. WelFUND will take care of the weaponization of poverty. And then you have the weaponization of injustice, weaponization of disrespect for the rule of law, weaponization of disrespect for due process, such that justice now has become a luxury that is only affordable to the rich. They destroyed respect for the rule of law and replaced it with such impunity that people have now given up. Even when you know your rights, majority of Nigerians do not know their rights. Majority of Nigerians do not know their rights. But even those who know their rights, it becomes difficult for them to seek justice or pursue justice when their rights are violated, because justice is very, very expensive. They deliberately made it so. This is the weaponization of injustice that we're talking about. And what is the resultant effect of this on Nigerians? They give up. They say, oh, the system is broken. Oh, I can't get justice. So even when they know their rights and they have their rights violated, they don't want to pursue. Why? They don't have the time. They have to go to work. So they don't want to be missing work for court appearances. 2, they don't have the money because it is expensive. In fact, very difficult to get good lawyers these days. Then number 3, they don't have the energy. And so because of that, they let impunity go unanswered. They let impunity go unchecked. And the more impunity and violation of rights go unchecked and unanswered, what happens? It is reinforced. Such impunity, disrespect for rule of law, disrespect for due process becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And as a result, citizens just feel, oh, the 2027 election result is already written. They will not follow due process and as a result, our votes will not count. And because of that, they will not bother to come out. 60 million Nigerians will sit at home. Guess who is happy when that happens? The riggers of elections, the compromised officials at INEC, the compromised police officers at the polling unit, the compromised thugs, the compromised judiciary agents. Because when you have such voter apathy, it becomes a field day for riggers of election. Those thugs that come to polling units to perpetrate havoc, to perpetrate electoral violence, they have a field day because nobody will want to stand and face the gunshot when they don't have bulletproof. They will run, they will scamper, and while they run away, they are not able to gather or take any evidence that is admissible in court. Emphasis on admissibility of the evidence. Now, we have talked about election guard to gather evidence. We talked about vote vision and the polling unit marshal for real-time election monitoring. Those two will take care of rigging on election day. For us, we need to also plan for rigging before election day. Rigging before election day. And that happens by destruction of respect for the rule of law. All the governors, many governors are decamping from PDP into APC right now. Why are they doing that? Is it because they are afraid of something? Think about it. It is because they have seen that there's no respect for the rule of law. And instead of going to the people and letting the people, the electorate, be the determinant of who wins, who becomes a leader, they have seen that some people have captured the Nigerian state in such a way that they are the ones disrespecting the rule of law to get people into positions of power. So what they are simply trying to do, when you hear a governor or a senator decamping from whatever political party into the APC, what they're actually saying is that, oh, we know now that there's no respect for the rule of law. We better go to where we know that the person will disrespect the rule of law and as a result, help us to come back into our positions instead of going to the people. So such politicians, such leaders, such governors, such senators, they will not bother to provide the dividends of democracy to the people. They won't, but rather they will continue to weaponize poverty. They will engage in palliatives economy, where they put 1 million people into poverty and hunger, and they will dangle the stolen funds from public coffers, dangle a minute 1% or 0.5% of it before a few of the citizens. And of course, what do you have when such things happen? People will begin to scamper and battle. It's competition, it's the law of nature. So that's how they do it. So how do we stop that? We need to put in place a situation whereby Nigerians have justice for every of their rights violated. Part of this justice is ensuring that elections cannot be rigged. That's part of it. But right now, any other injustice that you might think of, ensuring that every Nigerian has access to justice by connecting victims of rights violation with pro bono lawyers and resources and support. That is what this platform is for. Right off the top of the head, you will see here, this is the homepage, right? You can find a lawyer very quickly, and these are pro bono lawyers, right? And then you can create a petition. If you come to the top here, you also see it, find a lawyer. You can submit a case. In case you don't want to file a petition, we can file the petition for you. I'm talking about Law Patrol, but you need to submit the case that this is what happened: domestic abuse, office abuse, corporate abuse, police abuse or police brutality, public complaints, whichever one. You just submit a case. Then you have the petitions tab. You have emergency contacts. So you can find a lawyer, you can search for lawyers, you can get legal help. The list of lawyers you can search for by location, you can search by specialty: human rights lawyer, constitutional lawyer, labor lawyer, environmental lawyer. You can search by specialty. You can search by locations: lawyers in Lagos, lawyers in Abuja, and all that. Look, the beautiful thing about Law Patrol is that it makes fighting for justice or fighting rights violation a distributed affair, not a one-man show. It is a network of persons across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Network of lawyers, network of activists, network of patriots that come together to join resources to fight rights abuse and injustice. Remember, it's like the parable of the broom. If a single stick acts individually, it is easy for even a child to break that broomstick. But when the brooms come together in a broom bunch, even Superman cannot break the broom. That is how it is. We cannot leave fighting injustice and ensuring justice for all Nigerians to single individuals. It is risky, not only for us, but such single individuals. It exposes them to be compromised. It exposes them and puts their lives at risk. So for us, we need to work together, and that is why this is a beautiful thing. You don't need to rely on single individual, because the single individual cannot be at all the states at the same time. How many cases can a single individual handle? So these single individuals can even come and be part of this Law Patrol, such that if you are in Lagos, you look for lawyers in Lagos. If you are in Abuja, you look for lawyers in Abuja. If you want to see a list of all lawyers, you can see them. All right. So you have all of that. And in fact, another beautiful thing, you can register to become a volunteer. You can register to become a volunteer. It's telling me I'm already, okay, I need to sign in. All right. So if I click here now, if I say create petition, you also have the opportunity to sign in. So I'm already registered. If you have not signed up, you can sign up, right? Put your details in there and to allow you to sign up. But I'm already registered, so I'm just going to put my email and then I'm going to log in. Then if you come here, you now see you can create a petition, enter the different items in there in the petitions tab. You can submit a case, like we have said before, and then you can see the case database. All cases that have been registered before, you can just search through them. So you will see cases that are similar to yours. This will also help us in speedy dispensation of justice. Yes. Then you have emergency phone contact for the Justice Nigeria Now, which is actually also the Law Patrol. Human Rights Commission, Legal Aid Council, Police Complaint and Complaint Response Unit, Legal Organization, MBA, and the likes. You know, all of those numbers will be there. But something very, very important too. If you come down to this page, you'll see Know Your Rights card. It's a PDF of basic rights that Nigerians have and may not be aware of. Then you have emergency list of contacts so that you can copy them and in case of emergency. Then also you have legal first aid guide. When you find yourself in a position of abuse, what are the things that you can do? What are the things that you can do? My God, oh Jesus. All these things I've been saying,